ready, the waves are 67. Yeah, yeah. You better ready, it's barreling down the line. Breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man! Thanks, everybody, for being out here today. A studio audience. We love that. We are brought to you by EAS, Myoplex, Hoka One One, Polar Velo Fix. Every one of our athletes will be getting a Velo Fix certificate today. How about that, huh? Norma Tech, 4 Seasons, Walalai, Emio Power Breather. Our guest, 4th place last year, Mr. Ben Hoffman. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Always an honor to have you. Now, I got my mole, Ryan Bolton, who 2000 Olympian, but you're working with him now, right?
I am, yeah. I made a change this year and decided to bring a coach back on board. You know, I'd taken a little time where I was self-coached, and I thought it was time to, take another step forward. And you know, I enlisted his help. I kind of sat down with him in February and had some conversations, and then over the summer he started coaching me. And yeah, it's been a really good run so far. I enjoy his training, and it's given me a lot of confidence, especially on the run side.
Well, he was telling me that you guys just did a run block in Tucson. It's hotter than crap. You've got Caroline Rotich, who's a 2:19 marathoner, Boston Marathon champion. Stephen Sambu, who just took 5th in Chicago yesterday in 2:11. And you're running with those guys. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, one of the benefits of working with Ryan is that he's actually known for starting a project called the Harambee Project, and he works with the East African runners, and so I've had access to running with them, you know, and it's been really awesome. I mean, just seeing the way they train, the way they live, you know, and it's really helped my game. And
what did you learn from those guys?
Well, I mean, just, you know, the way they approach the running, I think it's really interesting. I mean, it's just a lifestyle, and they love what they do, of course. They're very passionate about it. And then, you know, they're very professional too. I mean, staying with Carolyn, seeing her, you know, she's very recovery focused. I mean, she's very all about her sleep. She would take naps, you know, for 4 or 5 hours a day, and sometimes, I mean, it's amazing how much she slept. So just seeing, but you know, they really love it. They're passionate about what they do. And then, I mean, they're not afraid to run slow when they need to run slow.
Right.
And that's really important too. I think people make that mistake, and just seeing that and witnessing it and being able to run with them and watching their form, you know, it looks almost effortless. Of course, they're working hard, but yeah, it's something to behold.
Well, what was fascinating, a friend of ours named Josh Cox, who went down to East Africa, went to Kenya, and ran with those guys. And he said the main thing you learn is, we think rest is go grocery shopping, do errands. Rest is lay on the ground and do nothing.
That's
right?
absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, she would go to sleep, so even more nothing than, you know, laying on the ground, or I guess still laying on the ground. But yeah, it really is important, the recovery, and, you know, just getting your mind ready for that next hard session. And yeah, it was cool to see. She's on a similar kind of build cycle for me. She's doing Amsterdam on the 15th,
the day
after
your
Kona.
race,
so
yes.
I'm excited to kind of finish up my result and then watch her the next day. Hopefully she has a good one.
How fun. And the other thing, when I look at your schedule from this year, South Africa, that was pretty special, right?
It really was. I mean, I had done, you know, several Ironmans throughout my career, and I'd won quite a few, I think 5 at that point, and this was my 6th Ironman win. But I'd never defended a title, so that was the first time I was able to defend it, because I'd won the prior year. And then, of course, I broke 8 hours, which was beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, on that course, I never imagined it was possible.
That's a hard course.
It is a hard course, and I just had that kind of really special day. And, you know, my run took another step forward. I think that was another big, you know, thing for me to see that, and it gives me a lot of confidence coming into Hawaii. I ran 2:42 there, and the conditions were warm. It's not the same as Kona, of course, and the competition wasn't quite the same, but it was a regional championship and a good result. Well,
and also you had a tough race with Niels Frommhold all day, right?
I did, yeah. Hats off to that guy. He's a true champion as well. It's good to see him back. I think he had some injuries in the prior year, and, you know, he really pushed it hard out there on the bike especially, and we had a good run battle.
Yeah, 2:42 for you, 2:43 for him. You guys are, those are sort of fun, right?
Yeah,
those type of races?
It was, man. I mean, it always motivates you a little bit. We both took off, and, you know, we had to chase down Cameron Wurf, but we caught him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then it just turned into a battle between the two of us. I got a little bit of a gap on him, and then, you know, he just kind of hung there. He never really went away, so I had to really stay on my game, and it was good for me to practice that mental focus of never letting down my guard.
The other stuff is, you know, 70.3, Santa Cruz and Boulder and St. George. Those type of races, you can really work on, again, your running speed.
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, I had one of my best, I think it was my best, personal best half marathon just recently in Santa Cruz. I ran 1:12, which for me is really good. And on a not super easy course, there's a lot of off-camber dirt sections on that course, and it is sea level, which is nice, but I ran 1:12, and I didn't really take too much of a taper into it, so I think that was really positive feedback that I'm on track for a good performance here.
So you've been 4th here, you've been 2nd here.
Yep.
And obviously this place suits you, right? So what are the plans for Saturday?
Well, I mean, we all have our predictions, and I think what you really have to do is remember what your best race consists of and try to stay within yourself. I mean, there's a bunch of good athletes here, and they've all come totally keyed up to race. And, I feel like I'm prepared for kind of every scenario. It's going to be a hard, fast swim, of course. You got new guys here that are going to push the pace a little bit, I think. The bike's always challenging. And then the marathon, I think we've seen this evolution happening right now where people are, again, pushing that, to a new level. And I saw the writing on the wall last year and probably even further back than that and realized I had to step my game up. I mean, I've ran 250, 251 here, but I think in order to win, I have to run faster than that. And this year, I feel like I'm really prepared to.
Yeah, you're capable of going. And it's interesting when someone like Patrick Lange goes sub 240, right? All it takes is one, where people start going, well, it's possible.
Absolutely. I think it's always nice. I mean, it kind of rewrites what people's expectations are. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's always conditions dependent out here, but I think this is a sub-8 course on the right day with the right guys, and we probably have it this year. I mean, if the conditions come together, we could see that kind of performance.
So take me back to when you're, in college and you guys are basically in a van driving, right? Driving, finding races with prize money, going up into Canada, just basically living in the van. Sport is fun. That was sort of your introduction to, eventually becoming a pro.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my origins, I started in college in University of Montana, Missoula, and yeah, I mean, we did a summer trip in 2006 where we were living out of my parents' car. They let us use it for the summer basically, and we traveled around the Pacific Northwest, and I made just enough prize money to get by, and that was my introduction to kind of the professional side of things, and I just loved it. I've always been passionate about it, and I said that from the very beginning, that for me, this sport is something that's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and I'll probably quit when it's not. But right now, I'm still loving what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about it, and of course that evolves. You have an evolution in what you find enjoyable within the sport, but I love it. I love the community, the camaraderie, and then of course the challenge of the race.
When the other side is you continue to get better.
Yeah.
Right? You're improving and improving and improving, and that's what I think is special, not just for pros, but for age groupers as well. Is you can do this forever.
Absolutely.
And you can continue to get better. You can always figure out other ways to swim a little faster, run a little faster, ride a little faster.
Yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle, and I think, it's always one that's going to be a healthy lifestyle, an enjoyable one, and, there's opportunity with it to travel, to see the world.
Right.
And then, of course, like you said, to push yourself and to always be a little bit better, which is definitely on my mind. And I think I'm in that sweet spot right now. I'm 34 years old. And I think every year I keep getting a little bit better, and you learn a little bit more, you get a little bit more self-confidence, and yeah, I'm happy with where I am. I'm in a good spot.
Well, last year top American, obviously top American last time when you finished second. And what would it mean, because we haven't had an American win here, right, since Tim DeBoom. So what would it mean to be that guy? Yeah,
it would be really special, and I would love to bring it back to the U.S., and I think I'm in that place. I think I am still the top American Ironman athlete, for Ironman Hawaii, and I'm excited to race and see if I can bring it back. And it would be really awesome to bring it back. It's been far too long, and there's a lot of really good athletes here, but I'm definitely one of them, and I think I'm capable of doing it. And I would love to bring it back for the U.S.
You've always been a guy who's had confidence, but it seems that you really have confidence now, that you feel that, hey, I belong here. I remember that the year you finished second, I don't remember if it was Freddie. If it was Freddie Van Leerd or if it was Marino, but those guys caught you, and then you went back by them, and that's when, to me, that was the statement. It was like, yeah, I'm not just pack fill here.
Right.
I'm here racing, and I can do whatever you think you can do, and I belong here on the podium.
Yeah. I think that Hawaii in particular is a race where you really it's an evolution that way for most people. It's not often that you see people come in here and dominate on their first try.
Right.
Craig Alexander, Jan has done really well, early on in their first attempts.
Sure.
But for the most part, people have to kind of chip away. And I think
evolution,
for me, that it was definitely that case. And now, like I said, I'm in that sweet spot where I have that confidence. And last year was important too, because to reaffirm that I can be right in there in the top 5 again, I know I belong and I know I can compete. And like I said, I've taken another step forward. My training has been as good or better than it's ever been. And I feel, as confident as I've ever been. I'm excited to be here. I look at this as an opportunity. It's exciting, and I'm just ready to get out there and do battle, man.
The other side of it is when you look at usually second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, there's like 30 seconds, 40, there's like everybody's close together.
Oh, yeah.
So much happens in that last 10 miles of this race. And with the type of running you've been doing, that last 10 miles could be something very special for you.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we saw it last year. Of course, I was on the losing end of that when Patrick passed me at mile 22 or so for third place. But, you know, I think I could be the guy doing that this year potentially, or maybe I'll be off the front. Who knows? I mean, I feel like I'm prepared, like I said, for all eventualities, and I'm just excited to get out there. But I do have a lot of confidence in my run. And I think that it's a really important thing to have here because, like you said, so much changes at the end, and you really have to keep going all the way to the line here.
Love it. How about a round of applause for Mr. Ben Hoffman?
Thank you.
Poncho Man!
All right.
Take us out.
Big island surfing, whoa, whoa, whoa. Big island surfing, breakfast with Bob. Oh, yeah. Chee-hoo.
Poncho Man!